All right, let's get into it. Let's talk spoilers about Superman. Let's give a spoiler review for Superman. So obviously, clearly, spoilers ahead for the rest of this video. I don't know how long this video is going to be. It could be like 20, 30 minutes. It could be an hour or two. I don't know. But if you haven't seen Superman already, what are you doing? Go watch it. Go enjoy and just live in that moment and just experience this movie for yourselves. And when you're done, come back and we can talk all about the movie, all about the spoilers and everything about Superman. But if you haven't and you want to see a review still, I do have a non-spoiler review up on the channel. You can check that out, go see the movie, and then come back here. All good. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment. Let's talk about Superman. That's what we're all here for. And now, without further ado, let's talk spoilers. All right, let's get into it. I don't know where I want to start. You know, I don't have pen or paper in front of me. I'm just kind of doing this off the dome. I'm just going to basically talk about the movie that I loved, about this movie that I loved and everything about it. So, this is going to be very random. All right. This is going to be very random, not structured whatsoever. So, let me think, where should we start? I think, we'll kind of go off of characters. You know, let's just start with characters, talk about characters, and more than likely in talking about them, we'll start branching off into scenes. And that, you know, just you get what I'm saying. So let's start off with the man himself, Superman. I loved this version of Superman mainly because he was so relatable. And I don't know if other people are going to feel this way about him, but I feel like there was just so much, me personally, that I was like sitting there and I'm just like, damn, like I kept having those moments of like, damn, like this realization, like of like relatability, you know, like when the whole, the first time we see that, Clark and Lois, that whole apartment interview scene, it's like 12 to 14 minutes long. And that whole time, you know, Clark's getting upset, you know, because he's getting grilled. Lois is grilling his ass with a good, like, because she's such a good interviewer, she's such a good journalist, and she's grilling his ass, and he's getting upset about it because of how much he believes in stuff. And I'm the same way. Like when I believe in something, I think that I'm correct, that I'm right, and what I do is right. So I'm the same way about getting, like, being headstrong, being stubborn, and that's how Clark was reacting. So I was like sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I'll, you know, even if it's like, yeah, she's schooling his ass, and she's grilling him, but like she's doing her job right. She's doing her job really well. But like I understood him where he's just like, people were going to die. Like I stopped a war. I did the right thing. I did a good thing. Why is that so bad? You know, like why does everyone think that's so bad? And also getting upset. Like he was getting upset about like being called, what was it? You know, that hashtag super shit or something like that. And he's like, you know, I don't like when people call me, you know, that's the one that hurt the most. I was like, this is so funny and so relatable. Cause I'm the same way. I'm the same way when I'm like, so passionate and driven by something. Like I'm going to hold my ground and also, you know, kind of raise my voice and be dramatic and be, you know, short-tempered, so to say. Like I am that way. So just seeing that, I'm like, and seeing that in Superman, you know, seeing that in Clark and in Superman, I was like, okay, damn. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm kind of, all right, I see it. Okay. And then there was so many other just relatable things, like even at the end of that scene with the whole Lois just being like, you know what, I knew this wasn't gonna work, and Clark's like, whoa, what does that mean? You know, because they've been dating for 3 months. He's like, whoa, what does that mean? And she's just like, I just told you I'm not good at relationships. And he's just like, okay. And he walks out, and I'm going through a recent breakup, so I'm like watching that, I'm like, damn, like, movie too close to home, too relatable, too accurate. And I was just like, okay. And it's like Superman's dealing with that. Superman's dealing with this relationship tension and stuff like that. And it's like, I'll say this, when it came to Superman, he was not a character that I held in like a high regard, right? I wouldn't even say he was in my top 5 of like DC characters. I really don't think so. I couldn't name you those like off the top of my head. I don't know what my top 5 would actually be, but I will say now, after seeing this movie and after being able to relate to this character and feel so good about myself after leaving this movie and feeling good about the world and just hopeful after like my experience with this movie and with this character, Superman's definitely up there in my top 5 now, but he wasn't before. And I think that's because I was one of the type that just saw Superman as boring. And it's I blame Injustice. I played Injustice and Injustice 2, and I know those story modes and stuff like that, and I just blame that just because it's like he was this all-powerful godly type being. He didn't lose, and he was just like there wasn't that relatability, that connection, that human side of him when I was growing up that I got to see. I know that there are representations of that in comics and in like Justice League Unlimited and in Superman's like animated series that he has. I do realize that there is representation of that, but I didn't grow up with that, right? Like, I'm young, I'm 21, so like I didn't grow up with that. I grew up with like the Injustice, the evil version of Superman. So seeing that now, finally getting to see a good version of him, a character that I can relate to and that is human and has his own conflicts, and it was just so breath of fresh air for this character, and I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed this version of Superman, and like I said, now he's up there in my rankings for top 5 characters for DC. And what are some other scenes I'm trying to think of? I also just loved how dorky he was, like, even not just as Clark. We see like the dorkiness of Clark, like when he walked in at the Daily Planet, which is another just amazing scene that I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of. Like, we got a good amount of Daily Planet and like the characters from the Daily Planet. Sorry if I'm blanking on a lot of their names. Really, the only ones I'm gonna remember is like Jimmy and Lois, because they were so prominent. But just like that whole scene where he's like walking in, and it just felt like, yes, it was a work environment, like a fast-paced work environment, but it felt so like a good work environment, with people. Even when people were like giving you shit or whatever, it still felt good. Like, like, yes, these are good coworkers. Like, I like my coworkers. I enjoy being at my job. That's how it felt for Clark, even though he was stumbling in late and his boss is getting on to him. What's his name? Is it Perry White? I think that's the main like head chief there at the Daily Planet. I think that's his name. Correct me if I'm wrong. But and then like seeing Jimmy's over there like hitting him with the newspaper, like, fucking dude, you got front page. And I was like, damn, like, I'm like that with my friends, where I'm like, they do something cool, I'm like, bro, like, she was into you, like, hey, like, stuff like that. It was so refreshing to see that, like, so cool to see that in like this work environment. Clark's on the phone with his mom, and he's like, yeah, like, I'll call you back, like, I love y'all, whatever, I'll keep in touch. But it's so good. That whole scene was so good. And again, that dorkiness of Clark, that we also, not only do we see it there in that whole scene with the Daily Planet with like Jimmy and all that, but you also just see it in Superman, in the way he says stuff like, what the hey dude, and when he's with Crypto, and like later when like Mr. Terrific's like, man, quit messing around, he's like, I'm not messing around, I'm doing important stuff, after he just sent Ultraman through a black hole. Like, it's just, the dorkiness is still there, and it was very enjoyable. It was very enjoyable to watch. So yeah, I love this version of Superman. This is Superman. This is my Superman. I love David Cornsweet's interpretation of this character, and like, even seeing interviews of David whenever he's like asked about stuff about Superman, and just seeing the way he talks about the character, I'm like, yes. I love that whenever, because even me, a person with like a comic wall and someone that is like on my phone or whatever, intaking knowledge about games and comics and movies and stuff like that, even me, I don't know everything. So when I see someone that is getting to play the character and they know so much knowledge about the character, I'm like, yes, holy peak, this is gonna be so good. And it was. He did amazing with this character. I love Superman. And you know what else I loved? I'm talking about like just like the character moments and all that right now. You know what else was really good? The action scenes. All the action scenes. I know some people might complain about the CGI. I had no problems with the CGI whatsoever. I think the only time I was kind of like on the CGI was like when Superman and that baby, the baby, Metamorpho's baby, looked a little weird, little wonky, but I was like, okay, it's whatever. I was like, it's whatever. I don't care. It's not gonna be on screen for much longer. It's fine. I don't give a fuck. But also in that scene when they're like in the cube lava that was leading to the black hole, that I was kind of like, nah. But again, those are two nitpicky things. It's in just that scene, so I'm like, I don't care. That's not that big of a complaint on my end. But really liked all the action scenes, all the fights. Even whenever all the flying, just him flying. Whenever he was like flying back to go fight what was it, like the Iron Fist of Bulgaria or whatever, and when he's flying back there, when he was flying to the Fortress of Solitude after, Lex got all the whole video of his parents, and just like all the flying scenes that they had looked amazing. The action scenes, I will say, the action scene I probably liked the most was the ballpark fight. I really liked the whole Superman versus Ultraman and the Engineer. It was sick. And he fucking slugged, dude. He fucking spun around and was like whipping the Engineer around. Poof, poof. Like I was like, this is so cool. And what else? I'm trying to think of just the kaiju fight scene was probably one of those where I'm like, and I get it, but here's the thing. I was thinking about it, I'm like, he could just knock this kaiju the fuck out. Like he really could. Like he shouldn't be struggling with this kaiju, but it was the fact that he didn't want to kill the kaiju. He didn't want to kill it, as well as he was trying to protect the citizens that were around and prevent casualties, which he did. He even saved a fucking squirrel, which was cool. And he was trying to prevent that while also like not trying to kill this thing. He just wanted to neutralize it and get it away from there. So I appreciated that, but that was probably the fight scene that I liked the least. But even then you have the Justice Gang show up, and they had their cool moments in that fight. Hawk Girl, Mr. Terrific, and then Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. So they all had their cool moments in that. And I think that was really more of a thing just to let them kind of shine than it was Superman, other than the fact that showing Superman saving people. And then like saving the woman that was in her car that was about to get crushed by all those buildings that were falling, and he holds it up long enough. And then that was one of the scenes, like whenever she's driving away, she looks back and he arises from the rubble, and like the sun and the smoke. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. That was a moment I was just like, I got so just like, this is what we came for. This is what we came for. It was so good. And oh my god, Lex. Oh, can we talk about, okay, like I love Superman, and we're kind of, like I said, this is all over the place. Can we talk about Lex Luthor? Holy shit. Such a good performance. Such a good villain performance. Like it really, he's such a hater. It was so good. It was so good, and it was so funny. That was the thing about it. I don't know how much of it was intended to be funny, but I found it hilarious just like how much of a hater Lex was. Not only to Superman, which he was a D1 pro, like the ultimate hater for Superman, but just in general, like that whole speech at the end that he gives about envy, and like he's naming like the philosophers, I forget the ones, like he names like, what is it, Galileo and fucking Einstein, and where he's like, those guys don't fucking compare to me, but you show up and now everybody's like, all about you. No, fuck that. And he's like, 1A, 1A. Oh my god. And then he fucking, one moment that we could not, me and my friends, because I went to see this, I was lucky enough to go see this film on opening night with my friends, and one moment that we didn't know was going to happen is that Lex kills a guy. Lex kills a poor like shawarma stand guy worker because he gave Superman food sometimes. So he's like, all right, Superman, if you don't tell me what I want to know, I'm going to kill this motherfucker, and is playing Russian roulette with his ass. And I'm over here thinking like, okay, he might kill the guy, but they're going to kind of draw it out. It's going to take all 6 shots, and then it's going to go off, whatever. Second shot. And he doesn't give a fuck. Lex is just like, oh, thought we'd be here longer. Anyways, I'm going to bring another person, and we're going to do the same shit. We could not stop laughing about that because we did not expect that to happen. But again, it showed like that like, yeah, Lex is a bad guy. He did not give no fucks about what he just did, that he murdered that guy in cold blood. And again, it wasn't even like that was someone who like aided, like Superman in a way, really. Like, yes, he helped him up like whenever Superman went in the rubble, and he like helped him get out of that. But other than that, like it was really just because like I gave him food. Like Superman said, like, dude, he gave me food one time. Like, leave him out of this. This has nothing to do with him. And Lex didn't give a fuck because at the end of the day, it was gonna hurt Superman, so he didn't give a fuck. The ultimate hater. I loved every second of Nicholas Holt's performance for Lex. It was so good. I'm losing my voice. Holy shit. He spent, what did he say? Like he had spent all those years just analyzing Superman and his fight patterns, and that's why he was able to like call out shit for Ultraman. That's dedication to the hatred. It was, and just his face, like the tear that came from his eye when he realized like that he lost. Oh, kidnapping his dog. And then I love this scene. I loved this scene so much. Whenever Superman breaks into Lex's office and is like, where is my fucking dog? Like, where? Like, Superman is snapped and he wants his dog back. And Lex doesn't give a fuck. Lex rage baited him so hard. And it's just like, Superman, I don't know what dog you're talking about. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Superman fucking flips his table and is like, where is my fucking dog, Lex? I'm not going to ask again. And Lex Luthor literally hits it. He's like, I don't know what dog you're talking about. We can talk about some characters, kind of a little bit more in depth about characters. Jimmy. Let's talk about Jimmy. Right? Let's talk about Jimmy, that ladies' man who saved the day. He's the real hero at the end of the day, because if it wasn't for his absolute game that it's what the fuck is it called? It's like no effort. This man puts no effort. He doesn't want the attention he gets, and he pulls baddies, and it ended up saving the day and getting Lex arrested. It was hilarious. Him just walking down the alley, he gets all these girls looking at him, and even the girls at the Daily Planet, and just Jimmy the GOAT. Jimmy's the GOAT. That was a surprising character that I walked away just like liking more than I thought I was going to. I just really thought he was just gonna be like a side character that I pay really no mind to. Wasn't the case. I thought it was hilarious. Every moment that he had, I thought was hilarious. Whether it was intended to be or not, I thought it was hilarious. Even the way he answers the phone sometimes, where it's like he could literally have everything he wants, all the information he wants, and Eve asks like, okay, I just want to see you like all weekend. He's like, like, I don't know. What a funny character. Another standout character, Mr. Terrific. Mr. fucking Terrific, who has one of the coolest scenes in this movie, right? And it's crazy to think that, like I said, Superman has so many great action scenes and just good scenes in this movie, but Mr. Terrific definitely had a standout one, and it's his whole little fight whenever they go to that little base where the portals are at. Or where they know Superman went in through, and he basically just puts that bubble around Lois and then just starts kicking ass on all these goons, on all what were they called, the Raptors, Lex Luthor's Raptors or whatever they are, and the like scientists and goons that were there. And it's like set to that music. It was so good. I remember sitting up in my chair like, this is a moment, let me take this all in. It was so good. It was so cool. And it was one of those things where I'm like, going into this movie, I knew Mr. Terrific was gonna like have a part, and probably like a bigger part than what most people thought. But did I think I was gonna walk away like, damn, this character's cool, he had one of the coolest scenes, and now I want to know more about him? I didn't think that was gonna be the case. I thought I was gonna be like, you know what, yeah, that was a cool character, can't wait to see what they do with him, whatever. But now I was like, dude, he had one of the best scenes, one of the best action scenes in the movie. It was so cool, and I loved it. The T-spheres, everything about, and again, it's like he's just a guy, but he's so. And especially his other like standout scene for me was the moment he goes in, and the one of Lex's henchmen who was kind of starting to go against Lex, he tells Mr. Terrific like, hey, I know the codes, like I can help you. And Mr. Terrific said, I'm goddamn Mr. Terrific, get the fuck out of my way, let me figure this shit. Are done. And I was, yes. It was so good. Definitely a standout character. I loved that. Guy Gardner, right? Guy Gardner. Let's talk about him. I liked his performance. You know, Nathan Fillion. I think he gave just the right amount of douchiness. Just the right amount, just the right amount of douchebag. It wasn't too over the top, but it was just his action scene where he shows up and saves that kid from the army, and he's just like, sorry, man, Superman couldn't make it. but you got an upgrade. And then the music kicks in and he's fucking flipping off tanks and shit with his ring. It was like, yeah, that was cool. So I liked his performance. And even whenever he told Superman, like, hey, if that video was even remotely true, then you're who I was told to protect, blah blah blah. And how he like, but again, it's like, yeah, he's saying all that shit about his vows, the Green Lantern vows, but does he really uphold them? You know, who cares, right? It's just, but it was just one of those things where I liked that scene where he told like Superman, literally, Superman's going through it in this moment because he's hearing something that he didn't realize that his parents said, because that message was broken and now Lex had uncovered it through the engineer and stuff like that. And in that scene, you could tell like Superman's like kind of freaking out, almost like borderline panic attack. You know, he's handling it a little bit more than a panic attack, but you know what I'm saying. And you know, Guy goes in and says that, and like Superman tells him, back off, like back off, not right now, like not right now. And Guy says like, make your move, Blue, like fucking do something. And I'm like, oh dude, even though we know how that ends, but it's like the fact that he said that to Superman, that it was good. That was a good scene. I love that. And then we have the character that probably got the short end of the stick the most, which was Isabel Merced as Hawk Girl, right? So I think every scene that she did have, any scene or line that she did have, I think she killed it. I think she nailed it. And I just think she got the short end of the stick in terms of screen time. Like, they just didn't give her much to do because we were focusing more on other characters, which again, it wasn't bad. Yes, this movie was a little bloated in terms of like, we had all these characters that we had to give screen time. But again, I think the ones that did get the majority of it, and especially our main character, Superman, like, the ones that did get the main majority of the screen time, they killed it with that. And she killed it with the limited amount of screen time that she did have. All of her action scenes and the lines that she did get, loved each and every one of them. It was so good. And then I will say Rachel did a great job playing Lois Lane. It was so good. So it was so nice. Don't take this the wrong way, right? But it was so nice having this like strong, independent female character that never said she was a strong female independent character. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm all for that, but whenever those characters tell us that's what they are, it kind of just gets like, yeah, okay, we know, just do those things. Don't tell us those, you know, actions over words, which Lois Lane was just all action. She was such a good journalist. Like I said, when she was grilling fucking Clark during the interview scene in the apartment, that was amazing. And then just all the way up leading, like, she is on Lex's ass, and Lex doesn't even know, but she is on his ass. She gets shit done. She takes initiative, you know. She goes up to the Justice Gang and is like, hey, how are we gonna get Superman back? And they're like, or not. And she's like, fuck y'all. Like, fuck, I'll go do it myself, which I know she would have. But it was just nice. It was refreshing to kind of have that character and let her actions speak for her. You know, I really enjoyed it, and I just loved the performance that she gave with Lois. I think it was so good. And seeing like her relationship with Clark, seeing her develop and kind of take her walls down, because she definitely, like she mentioned, like, she just had these walls built up. And she said a line, oh, that hit me so hard. And again, it made me relate more back to Clark and Superman, where she said, like, you think everything is so beautiful and that everyone is so beautiful and you're so trusting of people. And I'm like, damn, like, that's such a good line. And of course, like, and she's not that way, right? She's not that way. She's so more like critique of people and more suspicious, and she has these walls up and everything like that. And it was just so, she really just did an amazing job with the character, and I enjoyed watching her performance as Lois Lane, and she really killed it. All the scenes she was in, whether it was her little action scenes and whether she was supporting other heroes like the Mr. Terrific scene, or when she was with Clark and Superman, stuff like that. But again, and also her standalone scenes, I loved it. I loved everything Rachel did with the character, and I can't wait to see more of that in the future. Who else? All right, we can talk about the bad guys for a second. Like, real quick, we can talk about the bad guys. So Ultraman and the Engineer, right? What was it? Angela, I think is what Lex called her. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, the Engineer, I think we'll go into her first, just because I feel like there's more to dig into with her than there is Ultraman. But yeah, so the Engineer, a character I didn't know really anything about going into the movie, and now coming out of it, I want to know more. Like, I think she only had one real line that kind of made me really interested in the character and the fact that when, you know, Lex is telling her something and she basically says like, Lex, you better be right about this shit, or you better take this seriously because I gave up my humanity for this. Like, and how she gave up like becoming all these like nanotech, nanobites, whatever it was. And that was a line where I'm like, damn, like this character, I feel like there's something here and I'm interested to see what it is. And I know they planned, you know, James Gunn planned to make a movie called The Authority, and the engineer is a part of that like team or that group. I just haven't heard anything about it. You know, I haven't heard any updates, whether they have a script, whether they've already, you know, filmed some things, whether it's gotten pushed back, canceled. I have no clue, but whatever they end up doing with her, because obviously she's left alive at the end of the movie, so I know she'll still be in this universe. Whatever they ended up doing with her, I can't wait to see, because she was definitely a character that, and a villain, had great action scenes. I loved her, the whole, like I said, the nanotech and her abilities. I loved that, and the buzzsaw scene when they enter the fortress and they kill all the superbots. That was amazing. And the fucking ballpark scene, I told you how much I loved that, and the fact that they would have like, she formed this fucking maximum pulse blaster, and all the buzzsaws, and then filling Superman's lungs with the nanos. I'm like, oh, how's he getting out of this one? And then it was just cool. Her basically saying like, I can't survive this drop. That was actually such a good fight, and Superman flying out of the atmosphere while having the engineer on his back, suffocating him, filling his lungs, and just his whole face is covered in his nanotech, and Ultraman is over here just fucking like, and Superman doesn't give a fuck. He's just flying up and flying down. That was a great scene. I loved that. That was so cool. But no, I am interested to know more about that character and just kind of see, like, again, I am hoping that the Authority film, or whatever they end up doing with the Authority and with the engineer character going forward, I'm just hoping that does go forward. You know what I'm saying? I hope we do get more of that, because I would love to see that. And even we saw like Clark, Superman, talking to her like, hey, like, you know, this isn't the right thing to do. You don't have to do this, kind of trying to play to her humane side. And you kind of see that, I think, in her, where she also was saying some stuff about like I said, like, you better be right about this. Like, I'm not just doing this for no reason. Like, this better be for a good cause, basically. So definitely an interesting character that I want to know more about. All I can really say is that his fights were cool, because he doesn't have like almost any lines. I think he has a few, but they're not like meaningful ones. That I can remember. So, but just as a villain and someone like, okay, equal in power to being, you know, obviously because he's a Superman clone, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed his action scenes. I enjoyed the conflict and that he gives to Superman in this movie in terms of being a physical challenge, you know? And again, that whole Lex says, I had to beat you, you know, you're all bronze. So I used my mind, in how, you know, he analyzes his fight patterns and all that shit, and he clones him and makes, you know, Ultraman. So I had to use brains over bronze. But then Superman ends up beating Lex and Ultraman by outsmarting him and taking out the drones and then getting rid of the bronze because Superman used brains. That was great. I loved that whole fucking, I don't even know what you call it, but I loved that. I loved the fact that they did that. It was so cool. It's such a good movie. Such a good movie. And I'm trying to think of more scenes that I liked. The whole him fighting the Raptors, him and Crypto, and then his whole spinning. He loved the spin move. Superman loved the spin move. He spun whenever he was whipping around the engineer. And then when he had all those Raptors on him, he spun to get them off him. And then immediately went into fucking laser beam spin mode, which was sick. We saw it in the trailer, but it was so sick. And yeah, it was just a good fight. Such good action in this movie. You know what I haven't touched on? You know what, actually, I can't believe I haven't touched on this yet. Ma and Pa Kent. Let's talk about his parents. And very limited screen time, even probably more limited than Hawk Girl, but they had such a big impact on this film and in this movie. And I think it's mostly the whole Pa Kent talk with Clark, where he basically tells him like what your parents sent you here to do, or what their plan was for you, or whatever that may be. That's not you, and you've proven that your actions have showed who you are, and that's a good person. The person that wants to do the right thing. So don't, don't get in your head about that stuff. You are a good person. You're not this dictator god sent to this planet to do that. Whether that was the case or not, that's not who you are, Clark. That's not who you are. You are Clark Kent. You are Kal-El. You are Superman, and you are a good person doing good things. So I love that scene. At least that's how I took it. And I love that scene. I think that was one of the standout scenes for many. And even just like the whole thing, wherever they're like, when he has the kryptonite poisoning and he's laying on the bed, and you can just tell, like, they're like, is our boy going to be okay? Like, is he dying? Like, is he going to die? And even Paul Kent, where he's like, oh, he gets mushy. Don't worry about him. Like, so it was just they had limited scenes, they had limited screen time, but everything they did have, they killed it, and it was really impactful, and I loved every second of it. And then at the end, whenever, it parallels at the beginning, the Superbots say like, oh yeah, he likes hearing his parents' speech. But then because of what then it becomes that parent's speech wasn't everything that he really needed to hear, or wasn't what he stood for. So by the end of the film, it's videos and stuff of him with Ma and Pa Kent as he was growing up and just everything like that. And it was so heartwarming, so heartfelt. This movie has 2 post-credit scenes. One, I will say, so I know there's like a meaning to the first one, which is the man's best friend on the moon, something like that. I know there's like a meaning to that. I haven't looked into like actually see what that meaning is, but I know there is something there. So that was like the first one, and it's also something that I'm pretty sure that was used in promotion. So okay, and then the second one, to me, it was kind of like a gag. It was just a funny moment between Superman and Mr. Terrific. It did hit. The joke did hit for me. And again, it was just one of those. It was like the cherry on top of feeling good right as you walk out of the theater. So I enjoyed it. Did it set up for anything like either one of those post-credit scenes? No, I don't think so, but nor do I think it needed to, because I haven't touched on this, because it's something I'm excited for, because I know you can see her up there. This is a character that I love, and I can't wait for her movie next year. Supergirl shows up in this movie, and when I tell you, Supergirl shows up, and as soon as I see her, I'm in the theater in my seat, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, okay, As soon as she walks on, I'm like, oh my God, it's Supergirl. I lost it. I started getting all giddy and nerding out. It was so funny. And I wasn't the only one. Some of my friends were doing the same thing, because it was just so cool. And I am lucky enough that I didn't have that spoiled for me, nor did I hear like a leak or anything about that. So when I saw it, it was a genuine reaction that I was just excited to see a character that I love finally on the big screen. Of course, I knew her movie was coming out next year, and I know that they just finished like wrapping up filming on it, but did I expect her to see her in this? No, I didn't. I really didn't. I don't know why I didn't. Of course she's in the Superman movie, but it was a moment that, again, I was smiling ear to ear, and in that moment I was smiling even bigger because, oh, she looks so good. I forget the actress's name. Hold on. Millie Alcock, I believe is how it is. As soon as I saw her on screen, I was just like, oh my God, Supergirl's come to life. She looked amazing. The suit looked amazing. She was a party girl. Oh, I'm so excited for that film. I cannot wait for 2026. I think, what is it, June or July of 2026 next year? We get the Supergirl film. So I'm excited for that. I can't wait. And when I saw her, I got so excited in the theater. I was probably the loudest one in the theater at that moment. I loved it, and I can't wait to see more of Millie as Supergirl. Really, the scene that stuck with me the most, and it's the scene I think stuck with a lot of people the most, is towards the end, whenever Superman finally is able to confront Lex Luthor, and Lex tried getting away, and he busted in, shoulder checks his ass, and Lex finally just snaps. He's like, I refuse to lose to an alien like you, someone that doesn't belong here. And Superman's finally like, Lex, see, that's where you've always been wrong. He's like, that's where you've always been wrong. I'm just as human as anyone. And he says, I get scared, and I wake up, and even though I don't know what I'm going to do or how I'm going to do it, like, I still put one foot in front of the other, and I do the very best that I can. And that is my greatest strength. Like, his humanity is his greatest strength. It was something along those lines. I did not, quote it word for word right there, but that speech was just so good and so meaningful and so heartfelt, and it hit me. It hit me, and I think that's the scene that a lot of people are going to take away from this movie, and that's the speech that a lot of people are going to take away from this movie, because it's what I mainly walked away from, and that was the key moment that made me feel the most hopeful, the most empowering. And when I say empowering over myself, that I can overcome my negative thoughts, that I can overcome anything that I'm facing in my life, any challenge, any adversity, any heartbreak, any, obstacle that may be in my path. I can overcome it. I can strive to be better. I can strive to be more kind and a better person, a good person. I can strive to do the right thing in this world and be a beacon of light. And I've kind of always known that, but like just hearing that scene, and it was another one of those moments where you relate to the character, where I related to Superman, and it was such just a, I don't know what else to say other than I loved that moment, that scene, that speech. That is Superman, and that pretty much sums up this whole movie. All right, I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. If I did, please let me know, and I would love to talk to all of you in the comments down below. I love this movie. Again, I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen Superman already, please go see it. James Gunn did his thing. It's worth it. It was so good. I wanted it to keep going. It was 2 hours long, and I did not feel that runtime. I wanted it to keep going, to get more out of it, and I can't wait to see what James Gunn does with the rest of the DC universe going forward. I am so excited. I love this movie. Again, I give it a 9 out of 10. I'm probably going to go see it again this week, and I will more than likely give it a 10 out of 10 by then, because I'm just going to love it even more. I really feel that way. I can't recommend it enough. And again, if I miss some scenes, if I miss something important, or you want to talk about a certain scene that you liked or you didn't like or whatever, I love talking to each and every one of you. Please comment down below and let's talk about Superman, because I love this movie and I want to hear your thoughts. And again, if you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment down below, do all that good stuff, because you're not going to miss any more movie reviews or just gaming related stuff or reactions or anything that it might be that I have on this channel. And until next time, guys, I will see you later. Peace.